Jacob here, Flawless Airworks. I said I would be releasing this last week, but kind of ran into just kind of got kind of busy. But I've been seeing a lot of V2 Force up videos and reviews going out, things that have changed, all the updates, things like that. I wanted to just dive into a little bit of a more technical review instead of one that's just kind of very generic or might not appeal to everyone. I seem to like kind of the facts more instead of there's a lot of misinformation being thrown out on other reviews, so I just want to make something that's a little more accurate. Um, so this Force review is not really a review. It's more of a teardown and a explanation of what parts do and the updates that Field One came out with that are now in the V2 that are standard. And I'm going to keep saying the word update, not upgrade, because I feel like an upgrade would be a very substantial change. Although all the changes that are being implemented into the V2 system are very welcomed and good, it's all mostly very small QC kind of stuff. You're not gonna, I hate saying the word upgrade on these parts because upgrade would indicate, oh, I might get like an extra 4 pods now or something, or 3 pods. It's nothing like that. But anyways, without further ado, I'm not gonna have a box that's open. But however, there are some things that I'm seeing them kind of gloss over. So one thing I kind of want to show off is the case. So it might be hard to see the way my camera angle is, but I'll try to capture it. So this case is actually different. It's not what came with the V1s. It has more of a carbon fiber top. It's not like a cloth top. The back also has it too, so it's on the back and it's also on the top. The sides remain the same, but the top and bottom are different. Now, when you open it, it's going to be what you've always expected to have. You'll have your Aculite Light Kit, which is you'll have the black 9-1 insert. Did I just fumble that? Yeah, 9-1. And then you'll have the silver 8-3 insert. And then you'll have your back and your tip to match the marker that you've ordered. You'll get your typical stuff. You'll get your parts kit. You'll get your lube. You'll get your player card. In this case, I got Yoshi's card. And then you'll have in this bigger pocket, you'll have all the cards and stuff that you have. Your player card, your warranty card, all that stuff. In this case, Kyle Santos did my assembled disc force, so shout out to Kyle. And then also in a previous review, there was a question that was asked in this case. Let's say you want to buy the full Aculock kit. In other words, you want to have all the inserts. So you want to have the other four that should come with it. So if you do decide to get the other inserts to have a full complete Aculock kit, those inserts will fit in this case from the factory, which is super nice because I don't know another case or another brand that would give you the room to have that. Usually you have to sacrifice something or leave a few behind, but you have four here, and then you have the tip that could go lengthways, and then you have a sleeve in here that could fit another actual, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more inserts. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 10 spots a barrel could go, which is crazy. I mean, it's awesome. But as far as what comes in the box, nothing changed from V1 to V2. You might get a patch on the inside of the box, kind of like they normally did on V1s. Mine came with that, but I saw some people had their patch just kind of in the case. So either way, you will get that, and you could stick that patch on anything, a book sack or a backpack or whatever. But to kind of dive into the meat of this review and what I want to go over, there were 7 updates that were brought from V1 into V2, and a lot of people that actually have the V1 updates. I'm sorry, a lot of people that have the V1 forces actually have and might have some V2 updates already inside. So you might not have to update all of them. So I kind of want to. I don't have a before and after kind of thing, but I kind of want to just go over what they were. So the first update that I want to go over is the bolt tip. So this is just the standard bolt tip. If you have a signature series, you'll have yours will be gold. The original bolts, I'm talking like a long time ago, like serial numbers maybe 1 through 200 or something like that. The bolts were just smooth all the way across. So if you ever needed to separate the bolt head from the ram, the back of the ram obviously has an Allen wrench key for you to put it. However, a lot of people don't know, you don't want to grab it from this area here from the stem. You can actually scratch it. It is a sealing surface. What I do, and I've been doing this since I teched Bob Long stuff. If you get some needle nose pliers, you can actually slip them in and around the bolt head, and they actually fit inside the venturi holes that are on the back. You could actually stick them in the holes, and then you could unscrew it. That way you're not touching the sealing surface and you're just going around the pillow tip. So that's kind of a win there. But anyways, not what this is about. So the V1, this was completely smooth. And the V2 now has the slots for you to put a wrench in there. So you have some leverage to torque and unscrew it. The second one is actually still dealing with the bolt tip. You have the revised insert. Now, you might ask, what is that? So the original inserts, pillow tip inserts, were made with brass, and the rubber was surrounding that brass insert, which is very similar to what Bob Long used. It's what was in the G6R bolts. It was in the Victories. It was also in the Insight, the Onslaught, the NG platform. They were notorious for, possibly blowing out, or if you needed to change them, when you would go to unscrew it, you could snap that brass piece off, and then you would be stuck with a brass screw just sitting inside your bolt. So your options were to, one, just drill it out and hope you don't mess the threads on the inside, or just get a different replacement. Well, obviously, Field 1 is still going, which is awesome. So you could just get a replacement, a bolt tip, but you don't really want to do that. So the V2 update, instead of it being made out of brass, it's being made out of stainless steel. So now it's going to be a lot stronger and less prone to breaking off if you ever need to swap out that pillow tip. And another thing that changed was the material of the pillow tip. It's now a little bit harder, and I guess the wording they're going with is just durable. It's more durable. So by having a more durable tip, it still retains some of the softness of the shot, but it also makes it way more durable. And it changes the shot signature a little bit. On the V2, it's a little more, I guess, thumpier instead of snappier, like the V1. So yeah, that was a pretty good change that I liked. Yeah, overall pretty good. So going off those two, the third thing that I want to go over is the volume chamber. So the original volume chambers were very reminiscent of the front of, let's say, an Insight, or an Insight or a Phase or Onslaught. Totally different guns. So I just want to throw that out there. But it was almost identical as far as the front. And those cages volume chambers were known to break. They would snap off kind of in the middle right here. They would separate. You've probably seen some people in the forums. They've shown people where their volume chambers kind of just snapped off and broke. So this is a redesign. It's a lot stronger. Everything is slimmed down. There's not as much material as well. And what that was able to do is they were able to increase the volume by just a little bit. So that was able to reduce the operating pressure by about 5 to 7 psi. So nothing mind blowing, but it did go down a little bit, and then it made this front can stronger. So obviously more dependable and less a chance to fail on you. So that's where this piece came in from. And then you also have this. I guess you can, a shut off perhaps. These used to be brass. So this is an extra piece that kind of just slides in behind. It's what the Ram rides on. So that extra piece, it used to be brass, and now it's just anodized aluminum. And it's basically just a slight increase. I'm talking super slight increase to the engine air or volume. It's lighter weight, so you get some weight savings there, being that's anodized aluminum now. So that's kind of what that change was. Just small quality of life kind of thing. And then the next update that we have is the RAM, and a lot of people don't seem to cover this. So it might be hard to see in the video, but I'll try to get it to show up. But if you look very carefully, you could see those cutouts right here. There's 3. So there's 3 cutouts right there. So what this does is there's a bumper that, and I'll have it right here. This bumper, it goes on the back like this. So when the gun is being fired, it hits that bumper when it goes forward, and then it fires the paintball. So what those little slots do, and the way I explain it to some people is, I don't know the actual technical term to it, but I know some knives have those little pockets like on the inside. That way, when you're cutting like vegetables or potatoes or something, they don't stick to the side of the knife. That's kind of sort of what this is this is doing. It basically uh, just little small cutaways so that the bumper contact point it requires less breakaway force, so it's not sticking to this bumper and it breaks away a lot cleaner now that you have those cutouts. So once again, improving more reliability. And then also, if you're someone that like to kind of just throw your gun in the bag at the end of the day, with less maintenance, this will operate a lot longer before possibly going down on you. So once again, just quality of life stuff, things that are just changing. The one thing that I didn't really take apart to show was the Rhino reg. So the V2 basically it's a different piston. It's red. The old ones are blue, and then also the brass insert that goes in is also, and then also the adjustable piece that goes into the brass, the velocity knob. That's all changed. So those three pieces have changed, and basically it just basically decreased the chance of spiking. Sometimes the older ones, when you air them up too fast, it would just poof, it would just shoot the pressure up. This kind of reduces that. They changed some O-rings. I know the previous ones had U cups. These kind of moved away from that. Now they just have standard O-rings. When I say standard, some standard and some metric, but they're not U cups anymore. And it just makes, once again, maintenance a lot easier. So yeah, so that's kind of what that one is. The last piece or the last update is with the screw that goes in here. So I'll try to show that this brass piece here. There's some cutouts now, some little alleyway cutouts across. And what that does is sometimes when you screw your tank in, it would engage the gun early. And what that does now is allows a little bit of breathing room if your tank pin's too long. So now you could screw your tank all the way in and not have to worry about that. And then you could just gas it up like normal. And then everything changes. So that's kind of that's the major changes. The RAM guide did not change at all. So that's just pretty stationary. I know if your serial number is around the 1500 mark or around, maybe a little before 1400s, I would check. You might actually have a lot of these parts already in your marker. I think the last really update to really come out as far as what I'm seeing in the gun is the RAM. The RAM with the cutouts, from what my experience seemed to have came in like on the tail end of the other updates. I've seen previous markers have the updated shutoff, the updated bolt, the volume chamber, and then the regs. I've seen updated regs before, and the ASA pin as well. But the RAM I think is the number one, and the brass shutoff. Those two I've seen a lot of V1s are kind of missing that. But going off that, the only really other changes that this V2 has is that obviously the barrel has remained the same, tried and true Aculot system, barrel back, barrel tip. Feed neck has not changed, still very good. The trigger frame has not changed at all. The electronics have not changed at all, so everything's still similar. The only thing that has changed with the electronics is just the board version. If you get your gun, you'll have the latest flash, which has some updated to iLogic and things like that. But yeah, so one of the two major changes that happened were the foregrip, which I'm sure everyone has seen, and then the body, different milling on the body and different milling on the front grip. And then that just allowed some weight reduction. It basically allowed 5% weight reduction. So it's not anything that's mind blowing, but you can feel it if you've been shooting, especially the V1. Obviously, you usually have a LiPo battery in there. I'm not going to really go over how you could switch between LiPo and AA. I think everyone kind of knows that. But if you don't, there is a little switch here that you could flip up and down, switch between using a LiPo, and then switch between using AA's that go into the front grip. Yeah, that is pretty much it. The only other thing that I think that is important to say is the shot signature has changed a little bit, and I think it has to do with just the culmination of all these updates that have brought it together. It's not as much of a pingy, clicky shot. It's more of a thumping shot now. You still get that feedback that you really, if you like from, like a V1 Force, but it seemed to kind of tone down a little bit, and it's still one of the straightest shooting markers I've ever shot. I don't know the magic between the Aculock barrel and how it's shot. I don't know the technicalities in that, and I do know that if you put any other barrel on here, you don't get the same performance. So if I've used like a ULI barrel system on this, and I've used the Aculock, and I don't know why, but the Aculock barrel with this gun is crazy. Um, yeah, and as far as the weight thing, I grew up playing with E-bladed cockers, shoebox shockers. The weight does nothing for me as far as it being too heavy or the efficiency. I know everyone's still kind of saying the efficiency, for better or for worse, it's still relatively the same. It's not super mind blowing. But it works for me. Now, if you're going to be a back player that's going to carry 14 pods or something like that, or 13, I would probably not shoot this. This is more for, unless you have some crazy 100 cubic inch tank or something. But reliably with my 7745, I get a hopper and 7 pods. I know once it breaks in, I'll probably get maybe another pod out of it, but I don't, I usually carry 5 or 6 on me and I can shoot all that out and still have air. But yeah, if you're the person that's kind of fixated on those numbers, this gun was designed to be a smooth. Oh, let me rephrase that. Not smooth shooting, gentle on paint, and then also reliability. So that's where the two areas were focused on, and that's what they got. And you have to sacrifice something, and that was efficiency. So yeah, I know there is some. I know they're working on trying to make this a little more efficient, so we have that coming. But yeah, other than that, yeah, that's the review. It's I wanted to go over those changes because I feel a lot of other reviewers aren't really going over that. So I'm not gonna shoot it. It's pretty close to the V1. Like I said, it just feels a little bit different, a little bit softer. So if you have one at your field, ask someone to shoot it. If you see me in Texas somewhere at a scenario, I'll literally give you this gun and you can play all day with it. I mean, it's for me to use and for me to let people experience. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you, and yeah, see y'all out in the field. Thanks, man.